good evening, or I mean it is good evening. It's quite late now, and it was pouring today, so I didn't get any video with the Sony A7, and it just stayed in the car, really. It was kind of a nice day of travel because all I used was my iPhone and the Insta360. So we are currently at the Must Stay Hotel in Seoul. It's right next to the K-pop house hostel that we stayed at a couple days ago. The reason being is that we couldn't get back into the K-pop house after I actually booked the room there, and then I found out that I booked one too many nights, so I canceled that reservation or tried to reduce it by one night, and they said that they didn't have any rooms if I did that. So I had to book a different place, and we're literally right around the corner from the K-pop house. But whatever, the whole reason I can't stay there for more than one night is after tonight, we're going to go to Gimpo to go stay near the airport, right across the street technically, and have an early flight the next day to Jeju. But that'll be in another video. Today, we woke up kind of early, and we were supposed to meet up at 8:30, but we kind of overslept, and because of that we didn't actually get going until 9. The first thing we did was, as we left our hotel in Sokcho, the Ryzen, we went to Seorak mountain and went to, we got there at record time. It took us only 20 minutes, and better yet, we were able to get parking, primo parking. We were the first ones there. Right after us, everybody started arriving, and it just started getting crazy. And it was still raining quite hard. So we did the one thing that I wanted to do, which was the cable car. And we just started hiking up into the park and went straight to the cable car area, got our tickets for the cable car, got immediately onto the cable car, and just went up to the top of the mountain. And when we got to the top, we kind of walked around a little bit, checked it out. It was extremely wet, extremely rainy. Because of that, we were like, okay, are we going to go to the top? I wanted to show everybody the whole area where I last went and had lunch the last time I was here. But because of the rain, I really wasn't able to. What we ended up doing was we did go up the stairs, this crazy stairwell. I don't actually know how much video I got of this. There might just be some photos that I place here. And Ben actually wasn't even comfortable going up because of the amount of water. Our feet were wet. My pants were drenched, and because of just going up, I had luckily a poncho that Lynn purchased before we came here to Korea, and I was wearing that. Went all the way as far as we could, pretty much to the top of the stairwell. There is this thing where there's a nice set of stairs, and then it goes to rock, like you're hiking on the side of a mountain, and then you're on another stairwell or stairway. You go all the way up pretty much to the plateau of the peak, which it's a full summit. You kind of summit the mountain, but it still goes up just maybe another 7,500 meters. And so you could go up there and sit down and have a nice lunch or picnic there. But because it was raining so hard, I actually just stopped at the stairwell, let Lynn and Chris walk around a little bit before turning around and coming back down the mountain. And once we got back to the cable car station at the top of the mountain, we had some snacks, some tteokbokki, some fish cakes, and some huptok. That was kind of the first time for everyone here, me excluded, to taste those items, really. I guess except for the tteokbokki. Everybody's had that, but the other two items they never had before. Everyone really enjoyed it. It was the star of the trip. It could have just been because we were cold and wet, but having food was really nice. And then we came back down, left the Mount Seorak and went to the Sokcho Tourist Fishery Market, I believe it was, to go try a special chicken shop, Mansuk, I believe it's called. I'll correct the name on the screen somewhere if that's not it. But Mansuk chicken, where we got the chicken, and then we got some of the steamed cake from the seller right across the way from them. The chicken was fast. We got that within I want to say 2 minutes. The steamed cake, last time I was there was a line. This time was even a longer line. The market was packed. I think it was because it was raining and people didn't have anywhere else to go. And oh man, totally slipped my mind. Because our hotel at the very beginning of the day, when we were checking out, is across the street from Sokcho Beach, we walked over to the beach and took a quick look at it and had our photos with some of the Sokcho Beach items like the frame and the Sokcho sign. It was just a quick, not even 10 minutes type of deal before we got into the car to go to Mount Seorak. Going back to it, the steamed cake, there was like a 40-minute wait for that. So long that the chicken was literally cold when we finished getting the steamed cake. While we were waiting, Lynn was able to go get some like baked goods, some breads with like creams in them, and this like ice cream that had a roast marshmallow on the outside. That was super nice. Some of the things I only have photos of. I didn't really take too much video while we were here because I was trying to get us in and out. The whole idea was now we're going to go back to Gangchon Rail Park to go on the rail bike, and I had to return the rental car that we had by 7 o'clock, and it had to be topped off with gas. We ended up just making our way, and we're gonna stop at the local service area or rest area, whatever, to like eat everything. But looking at the time, the amount of time we started late, or today we started on time. It was yesterday that we started late. I'm sorry. We started on time at 8:30, and by the time we were like kind of done with everything at the market, it was already 2 o'clock. So Mount Seorak, I mean, everything takes a little bit longer in the rain, right? So Seorak was a little bit longer. By the time we were done at the market, it was 2:30, and we had to get to the Gangchon Rail Park, which was about like 2 hours away. And to make matters worse, when it rains, they actually have a reduction of 20% on their speed limits. So it came down from 100 kilometers to 80 kilometers, and that was like a huge hit. Typically that wouldn't stop me from maybe driving a little faster, but they do have a lot of cameras along the route, and that's kind of how they do their speeding tickets here. Now, funny enough, I've mentioned this, and now everybody in the car when we're driving notices it, but there are a lot of empty camera boxes. Like, they say there's a speeding camera, but there's no camera in there. And the only problem with that is because I'm not from the area, I don't have those memorized. I don't know which one has a camera in it and which one doesn't. So I just follow the speed limit. My buddy said that you could go plus or minus 10. Typically 7, 10. I just go exactly whatever it says. So if it's 60, I go 60. If it's 80, I go 80. If it's 100, I go 100. One really neat thing was the news said that it was going to stop raining at 6 o'clock today. So we had something to look forward to. Getting all the way down to Gangchon Rail Park, though, that's where kind of the real fun began. We got there and we got tickets for the 4:30 rail car. So even though you're pedaling and everything's based on your own power, they have assigned times for when you could go. And 4:30 was the second to last, because 5:30 was the last time. The only problem was that it takes an hour and a half. And with rain and current traffic, it was taking 2.5 hours to get back to the Lotte Rent-A-Car here in Seoul Station. That being said, if you did the math, we're starting at 4:30. They apologized. It was 4:40. There was a 10-minute delay. You're starting at 4:40. It's an hour and a half average. So it's what, 5, 6 o'clock? And then a 2.5 hour drive back is 8:30. And so we had to make the choice whether we were going to do it or not do it. And as we were at the park, the rain started really lighting up. Like, you know, they said it was going to stop raining at 6. It actually stopped raining a lot earlier than that. And we just hopped on and decided, hey, we'll take the penalty of whatever it was at the rent-a-car. Maybe traffic would get better. And so we ended up just going and buying the tickets, doing the rail car. It was fantastic. Lynn, Ben, and Chris really loved it. They thought it was like out of this world. They've never done anything like that before. And so it was real cool. They had all these crazy tunnels with like music or pinwheels or bubbles. They had all sorts of crazy things going. It was really, really crazy and cool. Like, they really do make it a fun time. And it's about a 45-minute ride where you're pedaling for about 45 minutes going up and down hill or a mountain, really, along a river. And then you get to the station where they kind of link all the cars up to a train to bring back to the original station that you started at. You then get off, you kind of go see if you want to buy the picture that they took of you along the route. There's other souvenirs, snacks, coffee, and you're at this station for about maybe 5-10 minutes waiting for the romance train ride back to the total end of the rail line. It's interesting because the reason it's called the romance car is because Chuncheon, this area, is like supposed to be super famous for young lovers to come to. And I mean, I just thought there was a lot of stuff to do here, so maybe that just makes sense that it's a great date spot. But anyhow, we took the train back. That was really lovely. We just had a easygoing ride back, and once we got to the station, we got off the train and went to a shuttle bus that took us back to the parking lot. And it's funny that we actually parked right next to the bus stop where they let you off. So we were able then just to pile right into the car. It was exactly 6 o'clock that we got back, and we were like, okay, let's hop into the car. The GPS said it was going to take about an hour 45. So traffic got a lot better. It wasn't raining anymore. And so we came all the way back to Seoul, and I was like, okay, we're just going to be about an hour late. The big thing that we had at that point was we had no gas stations along the route for some reason. Like, I don't know the way that GPS, it was kept messing up. Like, nothing has changed on GPS from the last time I was here. It's still just as bad or hard to use. It kept freezing on me, particularly when there's the average speed cameras, which, to explain, they set up 2 cameras about 8 kilometers apart, and they take your license plate and they average the speed from when you get from that part of the freeway or the payway or whatever you want to call it, the highway, the expressway, and then 8 kilometers later they take your photo again, and then they average how long it took you. They know it's 8 kilometers, so they know exactly how fast you're going because they have the time and then they have the distance. And so really all you have to do is set cruise control, is what I do. Along that whole route, there was no like gas stations for us to pull off at. The last gas station that we should have gotten off at was at a service area or a rest area. Most of them along this expressway actually have gas stations along with the food and everything else that they provide. So we should have filled up there. Unfortunately, we didn't. We got back. We were at the rent-a-car place. We were about 15 minutes early, but we had to find a gas station, so we were driving around in circles, and unfortunately all the gas stations were like closed or were closing. So they all closed at 8 o'clock, and so when we got to the closest one, well, first off, the first one we tried to get to was apparently like some sort of old gas pump, like an area where they used to store fuel. I don't know how everybody else found it, but I think it was Chris or Lynn found it, and we directed me there, and then there was nothing there. And then we went down pretty much around Seoul Station, randomly found a 24-hour gas station, topped off the gas, and then were able to come back. And when I got back to the Lotte station, the guy's like, hey, you're an hour late. There's a penalty. I was like, yeah, I'm totally sorry. Thank you for understanding. I'll go pay the penalty. And the penalty was literally 18,000 yen or won. And that's like $15. Maybe a little less, actually, like $12. So I was like, for an hour late, and we got to do the rail ride in like nicer weather, that was totally worth it. So I'm not going to return the car late again. You know, I don't want to create that stigma that foreigners keep returning things late. I like to do things on time when possible. But it is nice to know that the penalty isn't all that bad. I'm sure it'll get worse later on if people keep doing it. So anyhow, they got the topped off, cleaned car. The rain cleaned the outside, we cleaned the inside. And we came to Seoul Station to have dinner. Like, we were trying to go to UFO Burger again, but they close at 10 o'clock. It takes about 40 minutes to get there from where our hotel is. And so we were trying to decide whether we should come here, drop off all our stuff, and then go. But by the time we were at Seoul Station, it was about 8:30. And Julia, the last person in our group, has flown into Seoul today and has made it to the K-pop house hostel, which we were staying at previously. I was able to actually cancel one night off of her reservation, so she was able to stay there for just one night. And so she's there right now. We're at the must stay, which is just right around the corner. Looking at it, it was just, there's no time. We couldn't make it, and she was sleeping, so there's just no way that we were going to be able to get to the UFO burger before 10 o'clock at a decent time. We would probably arrive at like 9:30, 9:45, and then be ordering food for 5 people. It just doesn't seem right. So what we did was say, hey, you know what? There is a lotteria inside of Seoul Station. I wanted everybody to try it anyways because it's like their version of McDonald's. We all decided to meet up there. We woke up Julia. It took her about a half an hour to get to Seoul Station, which is whatever. And so we met up with her about 9:15. Ben, Chris, and I actually finished first, so we got up and left. Lynn chilled with Julia there before coming to the must stay. I wanted to get here before 10 o'clock just in case there was any check-in errors. There were none. It was super easy. The key was actually left out on the counter with my name on it. The key that you saw and that you will see in the room tour. Speaking of which, why don't we go ahead and do that right now? All right, and we are in room 503, and there's a doorbell right there. The elevator's actually right there, even though the stairs are right there, but you could just come on in. Actually, here's kind of something funny. You don't actually have to turn the handle, you could just pull. And here we are. This is the vestibule. And immediately goes into the bathroom and shower all in one. And then as we come over into the main room, we have a double bed with Lynn on it right now, our little fridge right there, kind of our table with the hot water heater, towels, and all the amenities. We have a TV, the AC, window with double panes, full body mirror, coat hanger, and then the second bed. And that's pretty much this room. I guess there is then a little nightstand right there, but nothing too fancy. Oh, and then I showed you that the door doesn't need to have the knob turned. So really the only way to keep people out is that way. So that is it. And then we have our key right there. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Let's go ahead and get back to the talking head part. Back in a moment. Alright, welcome back. And so as you can see, the room is not that much. It is just a very simple room. It wasn't expensive. Again, just a quick something for one night to be close to Julia so that when we all have to just toss our luggage in the storage unit tomorrow and go do our thing and come back to go towards Gimpo, we will be ready to go. There's not much more to say. Lynn is taking her shower and getting ready for bed, and it's probably about 11 o'clock now at least. So I'm getting pretty tired. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, and we will see you in the next video.